grab a cup of coffee, because today I'm going to share with you a ton of information, and I may rant a little bit, but I'm going to put a lot of information in here for you. And I'm also going to share with you a tip that has maybe a 1% chance of helping you. Prepare to be underwhelmed, but I'm also going to explain to you why this 1% solution is a good thing for you. Hi, Larry Kaye, ShadowAnyone.com, and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that. Now, I can tell you there's a lot of controversy and things out there about license plates and running license plates. My most popular video that I have online is about how to run license plates, or that's what people think it's about. Now, the title of it is very clear that I'm going to teach you where to learn that, and I teach that in one of my courses, the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Missing Persons and Fugitives. I teach a way to what I call a faux trace of license plates. It's not a real license plate trace. Don't get excited, but a lot of times it's going to help you figure out who's associated with that car, and it's going to satisfy your client. You're going to be able to make money with it. But people see that title, and it's my most popular video. It's also my most hated video and my most liked video. And it's very interesting to me because there's three types of people who watch the video, right? The first one is the most vocal crowd. It's the people who absolutely hate it. They call me every name in the book, accuse me of all sorts of things. But they watch the video. They're I would say trolls, you know, the people who live in their mom's basement, who steal the music they listen to, who pirate the video games they play. And every now and then they'll stop playing a video game, turn around and try to get some free information online, like the world owes them everything. So they'll brush the snack crumbs off of their shirt and type a few things. And so they come to my video and they think they're going to learn how to run a license plate, and then they click on it. And the very first thing I say, in case you misunderstood the title, which I can almost get that if you're just clicking around casually, but the very first thing I say is, I'm not going to teach you how to run license plates here. Within 4 seconds I say that. Click away, move on. But these people who think the world owes them something, that thinks they should be able to dig into anybody's dirty little secrets for whatever reason they want, are upset by this, and they just trash the video, and that's fine, because that's not who I'm here for. I'm here for the other two types of people, and you're probably, if you're watching, if you've made it this far, you're one of those people. One is for my fellow investigators, those people out there who have their private investigator's license, who are looking for that little incremental improvement, that continuing mastery of this field as things change and advance. So licensed PIs watch my videos because, you know what, you got to stay connected. I keep up to date on what's going on. I subscribe to the trade pubs. I'm always reading books. I'm always looking for more information, and so are my fellow detectives. The other category of people watching, and I believe this is the largest category, are people trying to get into this business, who want to get their PI license, who want to be private investigators. And these folks need this information. And again, maybe you're one of them, because you don't necessarily have the resources that a licensed private investigator has at his or her disposal. So, having said that, I want to mention just a little bit about running license plates. And again, I want to talk at the end about this kind of 1% solution that I'm going to offer to you and why it's important. But why would a licensed private investigator be interested in something that has like a 1% chance of paying off on who belongs to a car? Well, because, and I'm going to dispel a lot right here, but license plate information, driver's registration information, is not public record. It used to be, yes, back before the Driver's Privacy Protection Act of 1996, it was public records. You could go into the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, Department of Motor Vehicles, whatever your state calls it, with a handful of change, put it down on the counter with a license plate number written on a napkin, and slide it across the counter, and they would run that plate for you. And I did that more times than I can count. 100 times maybe? I don't know. You know, you had to put a little effort into it. You had to go down there and do it. But for pocket change, they would run a plate for you. It was public record. That changed in 1996, and then there were some enhancements shortly thereafter that made it even more difficult, more restrictive. So public driving records are not public record. Anyone who tells you that's public record, you can pay $1.25 and get it from a BMV, they're wrong. Okay, they got out of date information. I don't know, whatever. But private investigators, when you get your license, you have access to driver's information. Now, you may have this access to this directly from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. You've set up an account with them. I've never bothered to do that. It's a little bit more of a pain than I'm interested in. So most private investigators do it through a database service, and this is the way I've done it for years. And you pay a monthly subscription fee. You may pay a per search fee. But really it's as easy as a few clicks on the keyboard, you click the mouse, and you've run the license plate. So why would someone like that, who has legitimate access to that, care about a 1% solution? Why would a licensed private investigator be interested in this video? Okay, for those of you on the outside right now, working your way in, here's something that you just don't know. PIs can run license plates, but not for just any old reason. We have to have a legitimate reason, what's called a permissible purpose. And there's a whole bunch of these permissible purposes. But when we run a plate, it has to fall into this. Or, if not, it violates state and federal law. And that's a big, big deal. We're not interested in violating the law. For many reasons. It's wrong. It can jeopardize our license, everything else. So sometimes we're looking for sources that don't require permissible purpose. And by the way, if you're a licensed PI, you know this. If you're working to get into this industry, here's a little thing. The Bureau of Motor Vehicles can audit your records of the license plates you've run going back for years. In my state, they can go back 5 years. So they can come to an investigator at any time and say, hey, Larry, whoever, you ran this plate 3 years, 3.5, 4 years ago. On October 12th, 5 years ago, you ran this license plate. What was your permissible purpose? And the investigator better be able to come up with a legitimate purpose, or they're in all kinds of trouble, financially, legally, everything else. So it's to our advantage to have some of these 1% solutions, as underwhelming as they are, because they add up. If you say, well, this little idea works 1% of the time, and that idea works 1% of the time, and there's a 3% chance, pretty soon you've got a 1 in 10 chance of being able to figure out who owns this car, who's associated with this car, without having to have any permissible purpose, without having to worry about being audited or anything else. And that's pretty handy. People buy lottery tickets all the time. You're not going to win the lottery. It's a waste of money. Take that dollar, put it in your retirement account. People bet on these on way longer odds than the things that I'm going to teach you here, the 1% solution I'm going to give you here today. And they consider it a good deal. It's hey, somebody's got to win type of thing. So same thing here. Investigators with their license who have access to this information are still interested in picking up that little sliver, because it just provides them an alternative way to run information that they need. Now the vast majority of people, and this is probably you watching this video, again, you're trying to get into the business and you don't yet have access to those restricted access databases. You need another way to get this information, another legal, legitimate way. And this is the type of thing that I'm going to share with you here. So, again, not going to happen very often, but I want you to know about this. When you have a car that you need to figure out who it goes to, look to see if there's a parking permit associated with that car. And I'm not necessarily talking about a private company, maybe a factory or something, where to come past the guard shack to get onto the lot you have to have the parking permit. That can be helpful in its own ways, and you might be able to flesh some information out from that. I certainly have taken advantage of that in the past myself. But what I'm talking about here today is very specifically people who live in areas, neighborhoods where parking is very scarce, and the city will issue parking permits so that the residents have space to park there and it's not flooded by outsiders or visitors or workers in the neighborhood, that type of thing. And so the city will issue permits. They're usually put on the windshield of the car, sometimes on tag hangers from the rearview mirror. If you're interested in a vehicle and you see that it has a permit issued by the city, that very likely is public record. You can take that permit number, make a public records request. And what you're going to find is the name of the person who the permit goes to, the address associated with the permit, some more details about the vehicle are going to be listed there. But interestingly enough, maybe even the application that they filled out to get the permit is going to be there, which is also probably going to include a telephone number, maybe a cell phone number, a number that's not listed anywhere else. It's maybe going to have other people that drive the car. Maybe it'll have other vehicles associated with that address. So now all of a sudden you can see slim chance that the car you're interested in has one of these city parking permits, but if it does, it's a wealth of information for you. I hope this is I know this is something that's helpful to you, because sooner or later, as you collect all these tidbits and tips, you're again going to find yourself with a handful or several or many ways to figure out who a car goes to without having to run the license plate. And that's going to give you a real advantage over people who just turn to their computer or simply don't have access to any of this information. This is Larry Kaye, shadowanyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's a hard thing.